Erica Kirk is having an interesting time, I suppose, because on one hand, Turning Point USA seems to be having some issues. It seems like people are not having a good time with Turning Point USA. I did want to take a look at Erica's video that she did. And I have put this off because I wanted to watch it here with you. And I am now getting an actual good look at her outfit, and holy fuck. Let's unpack this a little bit. So the hat that says freedom that you can barely see the actual lettering on because it's all black and the hat is all black. And then I guess like a button up silky kind of shirt. I'm and then just buckets of rings. All right, no, what do you got for us, girl? Captions on. Oh boy, okay.
Nothing will ever be enough for the evil in this world. Our country has become unrecognizable. These people have perverted the truth to the point that they motivated the murder of my husband. They have continuously tried to assassinate the president, and anyone who stands in their way is labeled hateful, racist, fascist.
Okay, well, Republicans will label anyone to the left of them as a vampiric pedophile. I kind of think you don't have a leg to stand on there. Great start. May Charlie be received into the merciful arms of Jesus, our loving savior. That's such a weird poster to have on the fucking wall, bro. Are you fucking serious? Do you think they sell these? I'm willing to bet if I look at their merch, they have these in their shop.
Grossly dishonest. We want the best for our country. They don't. This is why Charlie started Turning Point USA in the first place. He didn't trust the radicalized liberal teachers.
Okay, but like he started it because he couldn't get into West Point. And then he threw a tantrum and said it was because a black woman got his spot. Like Charlie Kirk would have gone to college, I think, if he could have. If he could have gotten into the college of his choice, I don't think we'd be having this conversation. Because Charlie Kirk would probably still be alive off being some, I don't know, officer or something somewhere.
And everyone is asking why I even went to the White House Correspondents' Dinner. And it was because many of the journalists in that room have attempted to dehumanize me. And I wanted to meet some of them face to face, quite frankly. Why have a conversation about me when you can have a conversation with me? So, for example, a journalist from the Daily Mail came up to me. She introduced herself, and she was very gracious. She was saying, "You look so beautiful. I'm so sorry for your loss." To which I replied, "It is so nice to put a name to the face, especially with all of the slander, the lies, accusations that are out there surrounding my husband's murder and myself." And I said to her, "You know what's so interesting? This is my first time at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, and I find it so fascinating, the dynamic that is going on right now, because everyone is all dressed up, and you guys are co-mingling in and out of each other's cocktail parties. And so for one night, you are able to put aside all of your differences for the sake of freedom of speech. And then by Monday morning, things will go back to being an absolute bloodbath between all of you." To which she replied, literally, she said, "I know. Isn't it special, right? Isn't tonight so special?"
She thought she ate with that story, man. You want me to be surprised that DC reporters are a little fucking soulless? Like, what? What am I supposed to fucking say to this? Yeah, shocker. The people who report on literal fucking war criminals on a daily basis and often obfuscate and hide war crimes for those people on a daily basis are a little fucking soulless, a little fucking disconnected. That's crazy. Who would have thought? Oh wow, Erica, you really cracked the code there.
And following that conversation, it was time to take our seats, and we went into the big ballroom where the dinner was. And one of the first things I noticed when I walked into that room was quite literally the proximity of the opposing outlets to one another. So you have one table here that's Politico, and another table here that's Fox, and another table here that's WAPO, and you're all crammed together, elbow to elbow. And to make the night even more of a spectacle, every single 10-person table had 10 bottles of wine.
Also, I love how she says this like there's some competition between these outlets other than trying to make money. These people aren't necessarily ideologically committed to the positions that they write about. A lot of them are just doing a fucking job. A lot of them are just getting paid to cover shit, and They go after the most interesting story, the story that will get the views, the story that will get the clicks. Like that's it. This idea that like it's weird for Politico and the Washington Post and the Daily Mail and whatever to be in such close proximity to one another, like there's supposed to be some hostility between them because they don't align on ideological basis, is kind of bullshit.
And the U.S. Marine Band performed the national anthem so beautifully. And then shortly thereafter, gunshots rang out and total chaos ensued. And you guys have all seen what happened next because there are 1,000 videos of it. So let's discuss that fact for a second. If you were in that room, you had no way of knowing what the status of the shooter was, how many there were, or honestly, really anything. It was just utter chaos. And so during an active shooting, these journalists are using their phones to find moments to capture for clips. They were so concerned about getting a video in a room with an active shooter that they could have accidentally and quite literally filmed themselves being shot.
Erica Kirk learns what a reporter is, learns what journalism is, everybody. Crazy. I've seen this clip going around a little bit, and I do think this is the funniest part to me because she literally was in a room full of journalists, aghast that instead of running for cover, instead of cowering, instead of worrying about their safety, these professional journalists, the majority of whom work for news outlets and who are now at ground zero for what is going to be a fairly big news event, she is shocked that instead of running for cover, instead of protecting themselves, they said, fuck it, we gotta get this on camera, we gotta document this. On one hand, I think that having people documenting events is good. On the other hand, this is actually a criticism of capitalism if you think about it, because these people are so focused on their job, on getting the big scoop, on getting the big story for their job, for their money, for their financial gain, that they're not worrying about their bodies, about themselves, about their lives. If we're going to criticize this, let's criticize it from that angle. Because I think it's less about the clout, it's less about getting the clicks, getting the views, and more about I work for a professional news outlet and they're gonna be fucking pissed if I come back empty-handed knowing I was here, ground zero, for this event. Like, that's capitalism. That's not clout culture or whatever the fuck you want to call it. It's capitalism. And I also think it's just funny because if anybody is going to be the fucking one rushing to the scene of the crime, you know, it's gonna be the fucking news. It's gonna be the fucking journalists. It's gonna be the fucking reporters. Like, yeah, you were in a room full of professional journalists and they all locked the fuck in when what was possibly one of the biggest news events of the fucking year kicked off. An attempted assassination of the President of the United States of America. Any journalist worth their fucking salt is going to lock in that moment. They're going to say, fuck it, we ball. Like, what? It's so fucking insane. Like, it's genuinely insane. I don't know if she's just never talked to a journalist before. She doesn't understand the concept of journalism. She doesn't understand this concept, this idea, which again, we could talk about being willing to forego your own safety in order to get the story. But I think that's more of a topic about capitalism and the pursuit of getting the story rather than just, oh, look at how shallow and vapid these people are. They only care about the clicks. They only care about the views. Yes, but also no.
Many of those people have become so desensitized that fight or flight became secondary to the opportunity of putting themselves into the story, which ironically breaks the number one rule of journalism.
They're putting themselves into the story by covering the story. Like, yeah, maybe Olivia Reingold, who had the camera turned on herself and was, you know, being a bit of a goofball. Most of these journalists were just locked in and just became, you know, we're going to start documenting this, what is happening, because that's our job. You could apply this criticism to any developing story, to any breaking news event, to anything that is unfolding in real time that journalists are covering. Were the fucking journalists who were on the ground at 9/11, were they only worried about getting the views? Were they only worried about putting themselves in the story? Or were they there to document the biggest news event of the decade? It's obviously a terrorist attack. It's something awful that is occurring. But I would personally rather have those events documented in real time so that we can understand what happens. We can look back back at them. We can educate future generations about them. Very silly, Erica. You're funny. And why are you dressed like this? Who the fuck is styling you? I don't think she has a stylist. She can't have a stylist and she can't have a PR person. Those two things are not on Erica's payroll. A stylist would have stopped this and a PR person would have stopped this. They would have teamed up and they would have said, bitch, absolutely not. You are not going in front of the camera looking like that. Are you kidding me? Are you fucking joking? Do you want them to laugh you off the fucking stage? Just like they would have stopped her from going out on the Turning Point USA America Fest stage dressed in fucking gold and shit. Like, they would have stopped her then too. Leather pants, they would have stopped her then too. She cannot have a stylist and she cannot have a fucking PR person on her payroll. There is no fucking way. She is raw dogging this shit and it is fucking showing. God damn. Who picked this outfit? Who thought this was the thing to go with? Whoever it was, they set you up, Erica.
Ironically enough, the shooter was a teacher. You have these people who are supposed to be teaching our children the future of this country, and he's so unhinged that he is able to teach children by day and then attempt to murder the president of the United States by night. And in his manifesto, he starts by contextualizing himself by saying, I am a citizen of the United States of America. And while we may have big problems with illegal immigration in this country, I have to tell you, we have an even bigger problem when it comes to the systemic indoctrination and radicalization of our own citizens. This is what got my husband killed. This is what has led to 3 legitimate attempts on President Trump's life.
There's a reason. There's a reason so many people have tried to take out the president. I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm not saying you should do it. You shouldn't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. But there is a reason.
And I can speak firsthand to that unbearable toll that this must take on our First Lady. There has never been a president who has faced this many assassination attempts in Americans' entire history. And after each one, the reaction from the far left has been, at best, a shrug, and in some cases, a sick disappointment that the shooter was unsuccessful. We are all human beings.
We're all human beings, except for undocumented immigrants. Right, Erica? Right? We're all human beings, except for people you don't fuck with. Erica, you're a conservative. Charlie said you were more conservative than him.
Not even close. I am a moderate compared to Erica.
Andrew always jokes that once you got married to me, you got more based.
That's true. That is true. No, Erica is very conservative.
For you to sit up here and be like, we're all human beings, I kind of don't think you believe that.
Ask yourself, how would you feel if even just one person made cruel jokes about the attempted murder of your loved one?
Honestly, I wouldn't fucking care. She looks so scary. I don't know why the fuck she thought this was a good idea. This is insane. This is a ridiculous fucking outfit that she has put on. I don't understand the thought process here. She cannot have a stylist.
He said that she had the glow of an expected widow.
Like, look at her face. Oh, Erica, back up. Oh my god, she needs to smoke a fucking joint. I don't even know. You look so intense all the fucking time.
The glow of an expected widow.
One of his better jokes, actually, too. Like, I can't lie to you. Also, it was just a joke about the man being fucking old, man. He didn't know that there was going to be an attempt on his fucking life. He's not psychic.
48 hours before that nightmare almost became a reality. In this culture we're living in, absorbs disagreement as a form of personal betrayal. It turns having an opposing viewpoint into a moral crime worthy of punishment. And here's what I've realized through all of this, truly, Having lived through quite literal hell these past 7 months, if you strip someone of their humanity long enough, you will arrive at the chilling conclusion that they don't deserve to exist at all.
Again, do you express this amount of care towards undocumented immigrants or any of the people who are affected by Trump's policies? Do you? You don't. I know you don't. I know you don't.
Every morning I wake up to a new headline lying about me. I have comedians dressing up in whiteface.
Whiteface. Whiteface. No, sure, fuck it. Words have no meaning anymore. Fucking whiteface. After Drewski did that shit, was it Jake Paul who turned around and was like, I want to do blackface now? And it's just, I could sit here and I could attempt to explain the historical context around blackface that makes it unacceptable and try and get you to understand why whiteface is not the same fucking thing. But there's no point. There's just no point. There's no reason to try and explain it. I don't think I can waste my breath on it, man. There is a historical context that makes blackface unacceptable. That is it. Whiteface is not a fucking thing.
And I have Candace Owens claiming I murdered my husband. And the list goes on and on and on. There is a serious epidemic of dehumanization plaguing this country.
Your husband was leading the charge, bro. Your husband was leading the fucking charge. And now he's got motherfuckers carrying the flame. Incredible. Incredible. We live in an incredible time, an incredible country. Truly amazing. Truly the best. I don't know what we would do without it. There's a dehumanization plague. Yeah, it's coming from the fucking right. Have you seen the way they talk about undocumented immigrants? Have you seen the way they talk about anybody who they don't agree with? But sure.
Have now become commonplace in our daily headlines, and yet the media finds a way to conveniently explain away violence. This is what we're up against. This is what we're up against.
Also, I have to be honest. As an actor, from one actor to another, Erica, you're a little rusty. You're a little out of practice. You should maybe consider getting back into community theater or something. Because if you're gonna keep doing these videos, you gotta get back into practice. You gotta get those chops up, because this is bad. This is just bad. This is bad propaganda. It's bad acting. It's mediocre. And if you're gonna do this, I want better. I want better. I want better outfits. I want better acting. I want better writing. Okay? I want better across the fucking board, Erica.
The evil forces working to divide us, to distract us, and to pull us apart has never been stronger. This is a moment for Americans to come together and decide what kind of country we are going to be before we lose our country altogether. In Romans chapter 12, verse 21, it says, "Do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good." And this is why my husband created Turning Point USA, so we could have civil discourse and debate and open dialogue, because when we stop talking to each other, bad things happen. I am choosing to fight for America, for my children, for your children, and for our humanity, because we all need to do our part. And by the grace of God, we will succeed, and America will remain what she was always called to be, a shining city on a hill, a light to the world.
God, that's incredible. Can we get a side-by-side of her and Janet? Hold on, let me see. No, it's great. Oh my god. I mean, truly, who wore it better? This is like a fan-made one too. Oh, I love it. Like this is it. Like this is basically the outfit. Like Erica saw this fan-made version and said, "I want to do it. Look at this. Look at this." No, it's perfect. Again, if I had criticisms for Erica Kirk, it would be invest in a stylist, invest in a PR person, and invest in some acting classes. I think those three things will really start to turn things around for Turning Point USA. Or you could just step down as CEO and let somebody else take over.